Hello everybody and welcome back into X-Plane 12. Thank you to everyone who's supported the series and the episodes in the flights so far by leaving your ratings and commentaries in and under the videos. And remember, the best way guys to support and to show love for these kind of flights is to just simply support the video by adding a rating and a small feedback below the video. So without further ado, let's continue. Today we've got a really cool flight, one that I am super eager to be doing. We have none other than Newark, which is in New Jersey, just slightly off from New York. And then we're going on a short 1 hour flight up to Cape Cod, a very coastal scenic region, and I have to say I am absolutely chuffed to be doing this. So here we are on the ramp. We got the old fashioned American Airlines livery, MD-82. One of the best aircraft in the game. This is a default plane, by the way. There's absolutely no upgrades required to be able to fly it. It is a 5-star beast. The part polish on this, and this is the default livery, by the way. This is high class, so we're going to go ahead and hop in. We're not going to mess around today. So we've got our Vatsim, we've got our flight plan, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to download it for you guys to see. So remember guys, if you've got the flight plan downloaded from SimBrief, you can put it into your downloads folder and then move it to the X-Plane outputs folder and then FMS plans, and that is an easy way to open it then on Avitab. Of course, we also have our checklist up there on the left, but for now we want to just do a little bit of weight and balance, so we're going to just work for this checklist as steady as we can. So we're going to do a little bit more colourful. There we go, so you can see it. So sounds all checked, aircraft weight and fuel. Let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to operate from the iOS today. It's the effective way to do it. You can't actually refuel on the ground with a truck, which is unlike the Zebra mod, but still pretty interesting. At least I think it is. Cool, so what have we got in our flight plan today? I'm assuming not very many people. We still have quite a lot of fuel though, so we have block fuel 7,101 kg right there. We're almost at 7,000. Let's try and estimate today, so let's do a little bit of dragging one. Drag it across, so we'll do that. 7185, and we'll take a little tiny bit extra. It won't hurt. The American Airlines can indeed afford it. And then again, we want to go across to the third page, and you better find your weight and balance. 172 packs. Okay, so we're actually pretty much at maximum capacity. And then we have a payload there, 17.9. So in the case of the payload, it's better to get it accurate. So let's not mess around with that. Let's put 17.9, and that should come up as the correct one. No, so we need to actually put 17. Okay, so we need to put the actual number in, 17,900. And then it'll just distribute it. You know, so the cargo in the 4 is much more capable, or less capable, should I say, than the rear. That's always a good thing to keep the center of gravity in the right place. Cool, so we're going to go back to the flight plans there. Just double check that, we don't need to worry about that. Let's do some checklist stuff first and get the aircraft in state ready to go. So gears down and brake is indeed engaged. Let's get the external power on. To be fair, I know the checklist well now. It really doesn't take long to learn it. So you could probably just do a few flights with it and you'll be sorted. You'll understand it. So there's the cargo doors. One of the cool features about this plane. You can in fact open them from the cockpit. And we should be waiting for ground service. So they should come and load that up hopefully soon. Now you know the battery's locked because you won't be able to move it to the off position. FMC, let's get that programmed in as well. For the time being, we're going to close that. Route menu. As you can see, the last route I did is in there. So we need to put a brand new route, and we're going to do that using the downloaded flight plan. Kilo Echo Whiskey Romeo, so Q at Airport, New Jersey. Number 22 right there. Don't have to worry about 22 right just yet. Destination, of course, is KH Yankee Alpha. Now we could save that into here as a route, I guess. We could save it in here as a company route and then just recall it later on. We would need the downloaded flight plan to do so. Well, then again, we wouldn't. What am I talking about? We wouldn't need it. So we could actually save that. Let's do that now. Let's do the queue. And then we'll just put a destination there. Okay, not found. Right. There was a wait here before on other planes to do that. That's not a problem. It's not going to stop anything from working, is it? VNAV, what we got on VNAV? So I haven't really checked the altitude. I'm assuming it's going to be not very much for a 1 hour flight. No, not very much at all. We got 17,000 feet. Go back to flight plan. Now you can execute that. You should be able to. Sorry, forgetting one thing. We're forgetting the departure, of course. Don't forget that. Get the 22 right departure at Newark on the. So it's given us Bay Sierra, Bay Yankee Sierra, but there's nothing come up on our SID, so that just tells me that there's no SID departure there for the destination that we're going to, which is absolutely fine. That's not a problem. KHYA direct again, so there's not really a star there. So it's just a case of entering those waypoints now as we see fit. As the flight plan sees fit, I should say. You see, and it'll come up with the correct one. Then go 315, the airways, to seal. This is a great video as well. Remember guys, if you want to see the ILS procedures, you have to watch some of my previous streams, and of course there are tutorials on YouTube for it, but if you go back to previous videos and streams, I usually do a lot of ILS stuff, although I do a lot of RNAV stuff as well, so it's both useful if you're struggling with that kind of thing. Anyway, Victor 188. Gone. Another Victor airway here. It's quite a lot today. NYV direct to the airport. So now we've done that, we simply I'd recommend putting it in actually KH, and then you can put it below it, and that'll go direct to the airport. And then execute. Don't forget the execute, guys. It will make it a lot easier when it comes to flying the actual thing. Yeah, and then just check the legs if you want to check there's a brake. It usually never is, and that's all sorted. So literally, it takes that long to do. Cool, so now we can get on with the checklist a little bit more. So flight procedure number 2, pre-flight procedures 2, so APU's coming on. APU air source, starter, master switch. You notice the APU on this aircraft is slightly different. It's not directly at the rear of the aircraft, it's just off the tail, just at the side there. ATC is not online. It's pretty early here in Newark. It's looking 7:30 in the morning, so we're nice and fresh today. Okay, APU volts are good. Now you can take the external power off. Disconnect that. Cancel ground services. Detach the jetway weave pretty much load it up and close the door at the same time.
Stall. Stall. Overspeed. Overspeed. Cabin autopilot. Cabin
Terrain.
altitude. Cabin altitude.
Terrain.
Cool, so we just closed the doors. Let's get our cargo closed. Anti-collision lights. So we're prepared now to do our pushback. Yeah, push back and start clearance. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to use the default one today. That's the default pushback with X-Plane 12. We need to get our QNH at the same time. It's always handy to get it off of the live weather service. Highly recommend it. Of course, we're using inches rather than we're using a different system basically for the pressure. So 3030. And default pushback. So if you, I've noticed actually one cool little thing we should point out, which is a little bit annoying, is if you want your nose going left, you actually have to push to the right because it doesn't put it to the left, if that makes sense. So if you want to face, in our case, we do need to face our nose to the right. That will literally push it that way, so we need to push it to the left. I hope that makes sense.
Newark,
I'm pretty sure that's how it works. It's you have to do it the other way around.
November 552 Alpha Alpha.
To what you would
Stand by.
expect.
Pushback doctor is on the way.
Cool. Let's get a bit of bleed air into the engines. Let's set the brake to RTO now. Following the checklist to a T today. And again, I was just going to say, it takes a while, but the guy's arrived already. He's really on the ball. Welcome in, everybody. I hope the flight is to your liking. This is certainly one of the more interesting destinations I'm going to fly into. And hopefully we're going to have a successful ILS today.
Commencing pushback. Release parking brake.
Let's see if this default pushback is really as bad as I think it is. There we go, so it's actually doing it well today. Doing it very nicely. I suppose it is a default aircraft though, so it'll always push it back without any issues. We have been assigned a squawk code. We haven't got ATC, but we've got auto ATC. It's the United States, so you always have a fantastic auto ATC over here. So we've been given an automatic squawk code of 4033. We are going to obey them. Otherwise, we will get called out at some point. I'm going to turn the transponder now to save a little bit of time. That's also mode Charlie at the same time too. There's not any in-between on this aircraft. In fact, there's not really much interaction with many buttons. I've noticed down here it's very limited. The fire test for the engines, we should really have done that before,
Fire right engine.
is right there, so it's a little bit hidden and it's not on the checklist.
Fire left engine.
We should really press that separately to the annunciation panel.
Cabin autopilot.
So on the checklist it will tick these off as being completed when you press the annunciation, There's a little bit of a, I think there's a bit of a glitch or a bug. So basically you just have to press them separately. Well, we don't want to do that.
Disconnect. Pushback completed.
I mean, not great. Not great. He kind of pushes off the taxiway, off the yellow line. We're supposed to be on that yellow line there. Oh well, not the end of the world. Let's get our chart open. I want to find where we're going. Airport diagram. Perfect. We got ourselves on it. So 22 right. Straight down there. So it looks like it's going to be... where are we going to go? Go down Kilo and then Romeo. Yeah, Kilo Romeo. Then we'll cross number 2829. And to the end there. Or we could just go down Romeo and go to Whiskey and do take off from there. There's plenty of room for it. Anyway, engine start time. So pushback procedure is completed. Engine bleed air. The auxiliary pump again just hidden down here. It's a bit of a pain to get to it. There we go. Fuel pumps, starter system to A, going for number 2 right engine first. Let's wait for that to build at 20% N2. A little bit slow and then introduce the fuel. Same on the left engine. And introduce the fuel. Alright, very good. Straight up to 17,000. If there's no ATC in the area, you're pretty much clear, as mentioned previously. If there was ATC, that'd give you an initial altitude if there was one required. And we're going to set the vertical speed as well. About 1800 feet to 2000 is ideal. FMS and VNav should be able to follow the speed. So nav speed is given 170. We'll go ahead and select 240 though for departure. Get it all sorted now so you don't have to worry about it. So all the avionics and the electronics are on, starter system can come off. Sorry, the pump start system can come off and then the APU bus. And the APU of course. Flight controls. Fully forward, fully aft, left, right, and of course we have rudder control. Seatbelt signs on. Navigation lights. Logo lights. Air conditioning. Anti-skid. Yaw damper is off. Elevator trim, so we're going to just trim that now. Flaps. 11 degrees. Sorry, 15 degrees there for takeoff. Speed bugs are set. Flight director, autopilot's runway heading. 22 isn't it? So best estimate, we should use the chart really and look at the situation on the runway heading. Simply find that there, and you'll see it on the heading of the runway. So it's 22, and then it'll be along here somewhere for the direction. Usually it's pretty easy. So 218, and then course as well. Okay, autopilot set. Heading to runway heading. Doors are closed. Nose lights are on. Barometric pressure transponder is on. Pitot heat, let's turn that on now. And window heat as well. Left, and we don't need any other anti-ice on for the time being. Cool, let's get going. We should be on Honeycomb. Cool, we got a successful engine start or not? No, I thought we had a successful start there. For some reason I'm not paying attention to it. We got a few things here that have gone off. Well, I selected the wrong thing. On the system, we turn the APU off. We're allowed to do that. The generators are on. Let's just go for that engine start again. Packs off for the engine start. Left to right oil pressure low. We did refuel. Hydraulic thing is switched on. Bleed air is on. Not got an engine failure already, have we? Or is it just me? Oh, we have got an engine failure already. Engine fail 1, great. It's so unbelievable. I changed it to 10,000 hours. And X-Plane is failing them. Like, more than it was being failed before. And I had it set at 2,000 hours, so go figure that out. We can't have an engine failure on the ground before we set off. No way. I thought the engine started, that's odd. So it must have started and then failed. It's still having an issue getting up though with the... Maybe it's because I pulled that engine 5 thing. I did click fix all systems. Yeah, maybe my fault. Maybe I pulled that and then it failed it and it's unable to fix it. And go back onto iOS, failed system, so fix all systems. We're not going to set, we'll set mean time again, we'll apply changes. Oh god, don't tell me we have to do the APU again. Sorry about this guys, let me just do the APU back on and get the engine back in. This is why it's a good thing to take extra fuel. Max bleed air there from the APU again. Over 100 volts. There we go. So it just needs the APU. That's very odd. I love it when something goes wrong and then we can fix it. It makes it feel so much more satisfying. That's the ignition system. It's not even simulated. For some reason we got our oxygen mask on. Have you ever watched that film Flight with Denzel Washington? It's an absolutely brilliant film. Let me know everybody, what is your favourite airplane movie in the comments and the feedback below. Mine personally was Flight with Denzel Washington. It's great. It's one of the best. It really is. Anyway, that started, so I think we could turn the pump off now. I think that's safe to do so. And the APU bleed there. And the pack's back on. And then the APU master off. let's get going for real. Newark traffic, November 882 Sierra Bravo is taxiing to runway 22 right via Romeo November Kilo Romeo and Whiskey. Holding short, Whiskey, runway 22 right. Hey guys, we got the taxi plan. So we're going to be taxiing, if you didn't quite catch, so don't quite understand what I mean. So Romeo November Kilo, then Romeo, and then Whiskey. And we're going to hold short and take off from Whiskey. Is that Romeo November? No, that's Romeo Hotel. We're going the wrong way. Let's go right. Do that long turn. Keep the chart open so we know where we're going. Nice little road map there. I have no idea if I'm taxiing on a taxiway here or not. I'm assuming I am. Bit all over the place. This is definitely not a taxiway. Let's get out the taxiway. Romeo November. Blimey, can't even speak. And then Kilo. Let's have a look at the world from high up. Let's see what we're going outside. So not much today. Still pretty early, as I say. It's 10 to 8 here in Newark. GMT time in the UK is 10 to 2, so it gives you an idea of just how far apart we are. And he's only on the east coast. Newark's east coast, of course, New Jersey. I was always under the impression it was actually in New York, but it's not. It's in New Jersey. Autopilot thing has gone off again. That's probably because of the engine failure we had, but if you click it back on, it should come back. There we go. Let's slow down. There's the runway. We don't want to cross that one. I was thinking about crossing it, obviously, so we can go to the end and get a full runway, but we might as well go from here, from Whiskey, which is where I was planning to depart from. A little bit like short of the end of the runway, so we're not going to get the full length, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. Cool, holding short, let's do our engine start. So override is the equivalent of continuous ignition in this aircraft. The enunciator panel is clear. External lights were extended but off. Let's get our nose lights off. Galley is off, it should always be on. Should have been on the ground and then off. Forgot to turn that on actually, that's why checklist is so important. Anti-ice, probably don't need it on just yet. Vertical speed is set, 1800 feet. Auto throttle, leave that off for the time being, it's set to 240 anyway. Takeoff clearance, strobes on. Weather radar, transponder and timer. Newark traffic, November 882, Sierra Bravo is departing runway 22 right to the east. As you can see down here, we've not got a departure, so it's simply showing us a direct line from the actual runway. This is 22 right, everybody. Just want to make sure you all know that I'm taking off the right one. Skip that checklist, we know that. We know we're going to be taking off pretty quick. We are supposed to technically line up. I mean, we're still holding short because we're not even at the beginning of the runway yet. We're still on the threshold. You'll see that these arrows, this is not classed as runway space. I mean, it is and it isn't, but it's runway, but it's not. It's hard to explain it for someone who might not understand. So the main runway is this part in front. The bit behind is the whole short part. So there could be planes taxiing there. As you can see, there's a taxi line, a yellow taxi line. There could be planes landing just overhead when there's a plane holding short. Whiskey, sort of perhaps even somebody taxiing onto the across the runway there. There may be somebody there while the plane is taking off. You know, it works differently at different places, but let's get going. I'm waffling on a bit. 90%, brakes released. Rotate about 130. Airspeed alive. 80 knots. $120, cross check. 130 V1. Rotate. V2, positive rate, gear up. So throttle on. 500 feet, flaps up. Your damper on. Autopilot on. Slats up. Transition level 18,000 feet. Cruise today is 17,000, so probably not going to get out of the transition area for the time being. Beautiful views there over Newark as we depart to the east. And of course, as we fly over out to New Jersey, we're going to be entering New York region any second now. There's New York down there, ladies and gentlemen. Statue of Liberty. Look out your right window, you'll be able to see the Liberty Island. And you'll be able to see Manhattan in the distance there. And the Bronx and Queens. Absolutely the city of just everything. Just an amazing, amazing city. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. We are going to fly from New York at some point, everybody. Today we're just saying hello. We're just testing the waters. Look at that. They really made a fantastic effort with the New York liveries, scenic, whatever you want to call it. The big Yapple. Central Park. The Empire State Building. Let's see what other landmarks we can see from here. That really stands out though. Look at that. Who remembers Home Alone? Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone 2, goes up the Empire State Building right to the top on his own. New York traffic, November 882, Sierra Bravo, climbing flight level 190, 170. Well, goodbye New York. Let's do the checklist some more. So let's get our landing lights off. We're about 8,000 feet. Retracting off. Nose lights are off. Logo light can come off as well. Anti-ice is coming on the engines and the wings. Yaw damper is already on. Engine start system above. We're above the weather. It's a really nice looking day. It is, if you're wondering the temperature, it's plus 7 degrees at 8,000 feet, so not bad. Maintaining below 250, no we're not, we're above 250, why is that? Anyway, V navigation is coming on, so we can maintain that speed. The FMS is giving me 0.615 there, and we should be at 17,000 feet, all ready for bays. Very odd departure though. What is that? We got a line going there, and then back, and then forth again. How odd. Unless we put something in incorrectly. Don't tell me we're going to go there to go back again. Let's just check the SID brief. You know what it's like, a SID brief. So it's giving us New York. We've just gone over then up south northeast to Bridgeport, New Haven, across to obviously Cape Cod. So it's only forward and then to the right. It shouldn't be giving us left, back and centre. Something making a strange noise. What is that? I don't know if you can hear it, everybody. like clicking, rumbling, like shaking.
Autopilot.
No idea what that is. Ah, the flap handle. Anyway, above 10,000 feet, set the climb speed above 10,000 feet. So it's already increasing it to about 290. Monitoring the instruments as we do. Going back to the chart, we're going to have a look at our actual destination now. So KH Yankee Alpha. No. What is the waypoint? Have I put the wrong waypoint in? KHYA. Says it's Barnstable Municipal. Cape Cod Gateway is what we want, but it's coming up as Barnstable.
Altitude.
1,000 feet to go. Harrison, Port Chester, Greenwich, or Greenwich. Greenwich, I suppose. Stamford Harbour, Ledge Light. Let's go ahead and keep looking out the window. It's a really busy place. There's Yonkers, Bronxville. We just went across, of course. So this is the route we're taking across Bridgeport, New Haven, and then of course up to, it says Plymouth up there. There's a Plymouth in the UK as well, and there's also a Bedford. In fact, there's a lot of places. So there's Manchester there, Hartford. In the United States, I've noticed tends to take obviously British places, and then it just adds the word new on, which is great. You know, New England, which I just saw on here somewhere. There's New Britain, that's the one I saw. But yeah, I love that, like New York. The York in the United Kingdom is nothing like New York, by the way. The one in England is more like a medieval town, some city. It's really cool though, it's really good. The one in New York is obviously more modernised. So there's 17,000 feet. Let's go ahead and make sure we got an arrival. Runway 24. I'm going to do the ILS so you can all see what it is. There's no start procedures, but there is an ILS available. So what we want to do, we're going to get rid of KHYA because that's going to cause a conflict, and we want to put it at the back of the list. Execute that. So the FMC, this is a default plane. You don't need a special add-on. You don't need to pay for anything. Just use the default FMCs because they're actually workable. You know, you can't calculate as much as you can with the paid ones, but you can certainly do enough to fly and survive. So we've just programmed the ILS by clicking on arrivals, select the runway and select the ILS procedure. Go into legs, make sure there's no brakes in this. It says runway 24. Now if there's a missed approach, meaning we have to go around, the height here is for the altitude hold at bogey, so 1700 feet. I'll go around high at probably about 2,000 feet. So that's perfect now. The flight plan should have sorted itself out. Not quite. So it's making us go down there and then back up. I've always found this sort of thing strange, especially when the... I suspect we're meant to go from there across up to there rather than back and forth, because that wouldn't make much sense, would it? So from Carl, Curtie, gone. We need to skip the NYV, I think, and just go. Yeah, so we skipped the NYV. That was causing the conflict otherwise you're going to be flying around forever. And then we'll just go directly there to the approach. I don't think the MYV was essential. As far as I'm aware, it's not essential. It's not even on the waypoints. We got wacky on the waypoints, but it wasn't in the... It says gone, and then on the one I put in, it was MYV, but it seems to be on the sim brief saying wacky rather than gone. Sorry, rather than MYV, so we may have just put the wrong waypoint in. So when you've done that, you want to go onto your charts if you have them available. This is free to use, by the way. This I'm using something called ChartFox, and it's completely free to use. You don't need to pay for any services. Like I say, that just never ever. I never agree with that sort of stuff. Otherwise, you know what's the point of buying these games if you have to then buy 20 add-ons, 20 different services just to use it? So you don't have to do that. ChartFox is free to use. And then you can use the tablet, also free to use. And you can look up the airport, go on to approach, ILS runway 24. This is important if you want to learn how to do an ILS, because you need to know the altitude. I'm going to point out the essentials, probably the only thing you need to know if you're a beginner, really. Although to be fair, it's not that hard to understand it, even if you are a beginner. So we need to go down here, and we see here that the approach is 1700 feet high. So when we get close to the airport, we can double check that with the FMS. So 1700 feet, when we get to that, we need to be at 1700 feet height. Then that'll allow us to get to a point where we can look onto the glide slope. So we sort of descend from 1700 down to 1400, where we'll intercept the glide slope. And the speed is generally below 250. I'd say probably approach speed at that point, so maybe about 200, 210 knots. Then we go back up here, we look at the heading, so we look at the course. We can see here that the runway heading is 246, and that's going to be the course as well. So you need to set that in your course book to 246. Now there's another way you can do it, which is a little bit easier on the MD. You simply go down here. Our backup thing down here has failed. I don't know how to fix that. I thought it had fixed. Anyway, that's not working today for some reason. Go into navigation radio. Select 246 on the course, which we've already done. So that's pretty much sorted. And then navigation 1 is the ILS frequency. In our case, it's 10915, so enter that in. Into navigation 1. You can also do that down here on the radio stack. So in this plane you can't actually enter the navigation frequency, you have to do it on the FMC. But on things like the 737 you have discretion to do it on both, I think. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So you follow the heading that's assigned for the runway, you put the frequency in, you go at the height. Make sure you're on the approach speed. As I say, between 200 and 220, depends what plane you're in. It will say it on the chart sometimes if there's a speed limit. And keep an eye on the go around as well. Make sure you understand this part. When we get a bit closer, I'll talk through it a little bit more, but usually you'd have to click VOR lock, then ILS. Well, I'm going to take a quick break, guys, let you all sort of digest what I'm saying. Any questions, just pop them in chat and I'll answer them. I'll return to the cockpit, everybody. Thank you to all the recent subscribers and all to you who have shown support by leaving a rating and a commentary. That is always the best way to show your appreciation. So we're not flying to Cape Cod. Cape Cod's main airport, it seems. We're flying to something called Barnstable Municipal. I'm assuming it's the same place because it came up as in Cape Cod. So yeah, pretty much the same place. Yeah, you see that's right next to it. Seems like we've gone for the smaller sort of airport as well. Possibly the military one by accident. Which is a bit of a pain, isn't it? It does say it used to be called Barnstable Municipal, so that's like its former name. But it is now called Cape Cod Gateway Airport. It is Cape Cod's major airport, as well as an air hub for the Cape and the Islands, Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket, in the great state of Massachusetts. The airport is served by scheduled commercial aviation flights, as well as charters and general aviation. The airport was founded well back in 1928, during the World War II. It was also known as Naval Auxiliary Air Facility, Hyenas. I hope I'm saying that right. Hyenas. And both the Navy and the Army Air Forces flew anti-submarine patrols from the airport. Okay, so they were keeping their east coast nice and secure during the Second World War, although to be fair, if the Germans couldn't conquer the Russians, then they were never ever gonna beat the Americans. You know, they couldn't even get there, let's face it. They would have got shot down before they even got close. Cheers, travel buff. It was actually renamed that, apparently, Barnstable Municipal Airport, in honour of the Massachusetts aviation pioneers Russell Boardman and John Palander in 1981. They were the first aviators in history to fly non-stop for 5,000 miles, which is really cool, actually. So some cool history at this airport.
Traffic, Moxie 748, airborne at 4,000, climbing 340, direct jumper. Ground traffic.
a tiny little free thing down here, a tiny radar. At least we got a nice tailwind of 7 knots, pushing us towards Cape Cod. And there's obviously there over to the left is an aircraft, that's what I'm looking out for. It's a bit cluttered up, that screen, to be fair, so let's get rid of the waypoints. Top of descent imminently, and then we'll go down. I think it's just straight down to 1700 feet, isn't it? Pretty much. It's just coming up at 1700 feet. It's going to be nice and steep, this approach. Forgot to turn the seatbelt signs off. Let's do that now, where we got like 30 seconds left of cruise. Let people use the toilets before we come down to land. So the auto throttle, the reason why we can't disable it while it was having trouble, so two things with this aircraft: it struggles very much with steep approaches. You have to fly those steep approaches hand flown because the aircraft can't handle them. Its autopilot system simply can't manage it, especially things like London City, and we did Lugano, both very steep approaches. So the aircraft, because it's probably because of its length and because of the way it's been programmed not to do, you know, fly steeply, let's put it that way, to prevent it from crashing and stalling. It's odd, you would think it was built for it, but I don't think it is. And then secondly, the auto throttle, the reason why I figured it out and then couldn't do it again is because I kept trying to disengage it above a certain amount of feet. You really have to disengage it, or at least leave it on until landing, and when you're like 50 feet above the ground, turn it off, and then you'll be able to control your own throttles. Anyway, top of descent has come. We haven't descended, so let's go ahead and do a quick VS. i.e. 2,500 feet a minute descent. Actually, let's make it 3,000 feet. Seatbelt signs, navigation frequency is on. Landing course is set. And again, we're only at 17,000 feet, so we could probably descend at 1,800 feet a minute. Reduce the speed to 250. Cape Cod traffic, November 882, Sierra Bravo, descended to flight level 1,700 feet for the ILS approach runway 22. Use them spoilers there to bring us down to speed. Landing lights on, nice and early. Logo lights, ground flood lights. Anti-skid is already armed. We won't turn the yaw depth off until we're on approach. Another strange one, I can't quite see the Alright, let's turn nav off. Can't quite see where we're going to be going from that point. Seems to be doing a potential 360. I'm going to put chat on screen. I did do it in the past, so you could also see chat now. Should be on the upper left hand side, and I think that's going to make things a bit more interactive for people to see what messages have been sent. I turned it off for a while because I thought it may be clogging up the screen, but it's actually not too bad. It doesn't take up that much space on it. Set the co-pilot's frequency to the same in the course. Let's get him on the right course as well. What a heat. I mean, it stayed at 7 degrees the whole time. I don't know if that's accurate or if it's stuck. The speed's certainly working. We turn the anti-ice off at this point. We keep the window heat on. The defogger's working. Yeah, it's either that's going to take a really steep right-hand turn, or something else. We need to get, I'm going to consider this approach, just hit the yaw dabber off now. Transition level, we never really had one. We didn't even go high up. Barnstable, 3028. 24 is there, so I said 22 on the radio, but it is 24. Let's get slats down. And decision height, 200 feet. Slow down to 220 for the approach. I had a look at the chart earlier. I don't know if I'm missing it, but the speed is not there, I don't think. There's no recommendation for speed as far as I can see. So the terminal's way over there. We'll have to, I think we'll just go all the way to the end and then taxi off at Alpha. So there's no rush then. Okay, flaps to 11 degrees. Arm the speed brakes. And yeah, so it's going to do that right hand turn there to the runway. Strange because we're supposed to be landing at 2.4, so you'd think it'd be. It seems to be suggesting 2.15 potentially. Either way, it just seems off. Something seems off about that. It seems to be showing 1.5 on ours, but it says 2.4. We check the approach. ILS 2.4 is in fact programmed in. Okay, let's slow right down now to about 180. Flaps to 15. Water brakes. Minimum. Are we like, it seems extremely low down, this approach does. Let's get rid of that one and let's just stick the transparent checklist on. Oh no, we can't do it, I forgot. So we just have to make do with that one. Really stunning place, Cape Cod. Never actually been there, but it looks very, very scenic. Relaxing. Apparently it's full of vampires. Maximum bank angle is selected. 180 knots. We'll put flaps 28 to run final. Not got ATC just yet. So it'd be flaps, then gear, and just start to override. Then 160 knots for final. We should probably select the VOR lock. Let's select VOR now, and it'll still follow the FMS hopefully for the. Oh wait, what am I doing? Let's select that for now, then we'll keep tracking it until we're on runway heading, and then we'll have so about 7 and quite a good amount of miles there, 10 nautical miles it seems till final. Should be lining up. Barnstable Municipal Airport, November 882 Sierra Bravo, 10 nautical mile ILS, runway 22. Let the aircraft establish. Select the VOR track, which it is doing at the moment. Not very well, but that's the MD. There's the runways. It's not tracking it the best it should be. We are going to slow down to 160 though, and lower some more flaps. Override up here. Now the ILS on this thing and the autopilot in general is not very good. As you can see, it's sort of all over the place, and we're way high up. So you select glide slope and it'll just start acting crazy. We were on it. Let's take over then. I'm going to leave the auto throttle on. Gear should have been down before. So as you can see, there's plenty of problems there with the VOR and things on the aircraft not being fully functional. It results in you know, terrible landings. So this is a go round. I'm not risking it this time. Back up to 240, and we're going to go back up at 1800 feet a minute. I'm going to go around again, which is fine. That's good. Always good to make these decisions quickly. And this might actually give us a better opportunity to land the aircraft properly. So the idea of the go around now is to follow that back round, but we're going to follow the heading for now and do it that way. So straight back round to 1700 feet. And there's no go around checklist. We are going to stick the yaw damper back on for it and the system there back to off. Barnstable Municipal Traffic, November 8820 Bravo, going round runway 22. And according to the FMC, there is a go around procedure straight round. We didn't even intercept our approach procedure correctly, so we'll do that this time with a proper heading. Let's go ahead and tune that in. Make our 90-degree turn. So 1700 feet, we're at the right altitude. We should have intercepted the glide slope. As you can see, we came down, we were way off. It was this part here where the autopilot was getting a bit off. If it had gone there and then just did that turn and carried on straight, but it decided to bank back again, it shouldn't be doing that. It should never bank back to the left once it's done that turn back onto final. So it turned left and then it shouldn't do it again. Anyway, we're going to do our turns back to final ourselves. So 246 is the heading for the final, so we're going to turn opposite to that. We can just check that on the arc thing here, so go to Rose. Because we could check it on here. I'm going to reselect the approach. ILS too far. We're not going to do LFV. We are going to pray that this works. So enter that in. As you can see, it wants us to go there. We need to go to the furthest part back, basically, so we can get the longest approach. Let's go for the standard procedures. We're going to slow down to 180. I want to get nice and slow before we get there. Flaps to 11.
Stabilizer motion. Stabilizer motion.
16 or 17 degrees at Cape Cod, so it's relatively warm. It was meant to be in about an hour, so we're not really delaying it that much. 1 hour 23, so I'd say that's normal for this kind of flight. Flaps to 15. Override. Your damper's coming off. There it is, there's the beach. You can see it. And it just stretches out. It's a bit like Florida, I guess. Or nothing like it, maybe. It's Massachusetts, so completely different area. I just mean in terms of the topography. Very much a seaside place. And there's actually another airport right in front of us. Called Chatham. So we're sufficient distance, I think, from the airport to be able to engage the LNAV again. So we're going to do that. I'm going to slow down to 160 soon. Localizer failure. I don't know why it keeps saying that when we're not locked onto it yet. Let's select VOR lock now. You can see the aircraft just doing the stupidest things. I don't know what's going on wrong with it. The FMC and the autopilot is supposed to be following the FMS. Doesn't even look like the autopilot's doing anything.
Autopilot.
It's not. It's not doing anything, so because we can still do movement. This is a bit silly. It is frustrating and it's upsetting that the game just doesn't work. You know, basically you have to buy aircraft in order to get functional aircraft. The default ones, no matter how well you fly them and how correctly, they will always not work. So yeah. Anyway, auto throttle, as you can see, it says 200 feet or below, but we'll keep it on till the end.
Stabilizer motion.
So I'm on VOR lock.
Stabilizer motion.
It's just not doing it at all.
Stabilizer motion.
I don't know what's going on. Silly, isn't it? VOR lock, show me something. It should be now turning towards the VOR. Finally. A little bit late. Extremely late actually for that turn. Should be turning in here for the final. I might rename this to exposing Cape Cod, exposing the MD's faults. As you can see, we're well off from the line because of it. I know we selected VOR, but still, it should be turning quicker than that. So we're on the ILS. Intercepted it horizontally, not vertically. So what we're going to do is we're going to prepare by pressing ILS when it gets a bit closer to the middle. I'm proud that it actually works this time. Laps 28. Let's slow right down to 160, give the plane plenty of time to prep for it. All this turning though is unnecessary. This can't be a result of the MD's manufacturing, it's got to be an explained thing. Oh god. So let's select ILS, so the glide slope is now going to be intercepted. There we go, so ILS, localize the track, we've got it this time. Barnstable Municipal Traffic, November 882 Sierra Bravo is established, ILS runway 24 right. There's no 24 right, I keep getting it wrong, it's just number 24. So it's actually worked this time, it has in fact intercepted the glide slope, which means we're cleared to do an ILS approach. Fantastic. You've got to persevere, I think, because it does cause me especially to get impatient, but if it's causing you the same issues, just go around. I mean, you may be able to get it the second time like I did. Cool decision height, override on there, flaps are 28. Let's get the gear down. So it's lit up yellow on the ILS, but it is in fact on the glide slope, because the glide slope track is green and so is the localizer track. It's a horizontal and vertical. As you can see in here, the horizontal and vertical magenta, and the central one as well for heading.
500. Minimum.
Minimums a bit high for minimums at 500 feet. Minimums are 200 feet at this airport.
400.
Or should be. 400 feet, looking nice, looking very smooth. Bit off to the right.
300.
Autopilot off, we're going to have to just slightly course correct, I think. It's looking nice, 200 feet. Auto throttle coming. Oh god, it's done that thing again. Keep the auto throttle on until we land.
100.
Okay, came in a bit too late.
30. 20. 10.
Well late. Reverses. Straight down to the end. That auto throttle, I thought it was going to disconnect, but it still did the same thing. It still did it, even though we were about to touch down. It still wanted to continue to use them, and it still does now I'm on the ground. It's silly. Okay, disengage that. And the lights off. Auto brakes off. Take that left hand. Flaps up. Takes us to terminal, so we can stop the chrono. 55 minutes for the flight. Flaps retracted. Transponder to standby. Strobes off. Window heats. That was something else, wasn't it? Well, I'm glad we went around. The landing was actually nice and decent. I mean, it was a little bit... It was right on target, and then slightly at the end it sort of pitched up as we came in the Really stunning though. We arrived an hour flight time, so it's now 8:45 in the morning. Pretty much on time. And we're right at the terminal where we need to be too. Just on the left hand side. Seems to be general aviation parking there, more than commercial. If we go down here, we've got hangars. A little bit more space down there. Hey, American Eagle. Not seen one of those on the game before. Whoa! Did not see that when I was taxiing. There's a huge bump in the taxiway. Look at that. This is X-plane. I mean, it's dangerous at points. Look at the angle of that wheel. I have landed on many airports in this game, which are like roller coasters. Seriously. Taxi light's coming off. Anyway, I landed on one in the past, and it went steep down, and then it went steep up, and steep down again, like a like one of the old ones from the 1930s. You know, those wooden roller coasters. The development on this game is just so poor. Parking brake, checklist. Let's get this all closed down. Skid. APU air source. APU won't take long. I don't know why we're doing that. We could just shut the whole thing down. Auxiliary stuff down there for the hydraulics. Bus ties coming back to open. It was always on open. I didn't change it in beginning, but that's not going to cause any issues. Half the things, in fact most of the things in this plane aren't even simulated. P2 install heat coming off. It might be time to go back to Microsoft. I'm not going to lie, or heck, go back to flight gear. Engine start pump off. I meant to turn the APU back off. Probably at some point, so let's do that. External power. Could have just done that first, I have to say. They made it a little bit strange on the checklist. Gallery off. APU off. Air conditioning. Cockpit temp. Yaw damper. Strobes and beacons. Ground floodlights, logo lights, internal lights, external lights, or external power bus, and external power. And somehow the APU is still running. I'm sure that'll shut down because we turned it all off. There we go. Should be going off soon. Any second. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. I'm going to watch the replay, and then during the replay, I will leave, so I won't be here. So I guess I'll see you all on the next flight. I'll see you all for some more videos. I hope you're all enjoying the newer ones. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying being here with you all. It's a special one. It always is. So everybody take care. Stick around if you want to see the replay or not, and I'll see you next time. Bye.